Debbie. This is our broker, branch manager, Debbie Dwyer. My name is Mike Frank with Berkshire Hathaway. Debbie's a big stickler for the very beginning of the contract. The time is of the essence.
So time is of the essence. That's the first part of the contract, one of the first paragraphs you see. And basically what it says is that everybody needs to respect everybody's time and everybody needs to work diligently within the timelines.
So if we were writing an offer, it's about getting the offer written in a timely fashion, or if we're submitting it to a seller, or if the seller's going to review it and get a response to the buyer, whoever's a party to the contract, time is imperative,
Right.
Because at any minute it could go away.
Follow all of the timelines and all of the dates that are going to be put into the contract to stay in contract.
Right.
And I always say this also should link back to communication. This is your reminder that open communication between everybody is going to make your transaction the most successful.
True. And so for buyer sellers out there, for sellers agents, buyers agents out there, we just have to remember that sometimes the open communication is actually something that can solve problems that time could create more issue, right? So you want to be quick and open and transparent about the way that we communicate timely, right?
And sometimes you don't have an answer, but that quick, I don't have an answer, but I'm working on it, is all the communication you
Always.
need. But the silence for 24, 48 or longer hours just makes...
Especially if you're going to miss a timeline.
Right.
I mean, and that's the key, is that there's timelines in the contract.
Right.
And we don't want to miss them. And that's what that talks about. It goes on to identify the date at which the offer or the contract was written, right? And then the buyer seller.
Right. So you get the date offer, the buyer seller, full names. And where you get those full names would be from maybe a tax record for a seller. The buyer, if you're working with the buyer, make sure that you have their name, how it's legally on documents for both parties.
So what we want to do is we want to write it to the seller on the tax record. So Mr. Seller, if you changed your name, we're writing it to what's on the tax record, and now we need you to provide verification of what you changed your name to. And then we talk about the property itself, right?
Property itself, where it's located,
right?
Where it's located in the state of Maryland, the city, the county, and the zip code. Really important, goes without saying, to make sure you have the right street address, even with the east or west. It does happen. Make sure that you have the actual address.
And another one that comes up all the time is whether it's fee simple or ground rent, the actual pertinent information. And we might have something come up. We're going to talk about ground rent later, right? There's a lot of information about ground rent, but it might come up as to the seller's thought that it was a fee simple property. They purchased it as a fee simple property. They got owner's title insurance and everything. And in our new discovery, they identified that it was a ground rent property, which can cause some difficulty. So
ground rent, or as it states on the deed, it usually calls it leasehold.
Oh geez, don't even confuse them.
Well,
it's gonna get worse.
No, but if you're looking at a deed and you see leasehold, you can't ignore the fact that that's ground rent. It is really specific to Maryland, but it is important to understand what ground rent is and leasehold. And the estate being conveyed in paragraph 5, if it's going to be conveyed one way or the other. Sometimes a seller doesn't even know that they have a leasehold property because they haven't paid in years.
And that can be an issue.
Right. We're going to have a whole program on that.
Talk a lot about that later. Excited to share more with you guys, and we'll talk to you real soon.